Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today a real quick video, kind of like a clarification follow-up on this by now I would even call infamous Sabretooth Miniboss that you have to fight 3 times in 7.1.2 beta. And currently in beta, basically the champion has Mercy Node plus Recovery plus Aspect of War, and I have discussed this fight in particular in already a separate video, which I will try to put somewhere up there if you guys want to see the original video and the kind of thought process behind it. The point being is, in that video I say that pretty much no champion currently tackles this fight and node combination, and the only champion that realistically can cover all of the bases for this fight is Red Guardian, that is about to be released. Therefore this fight seems suspiciously tailor-made specifically for that one champion, perhaps partially in order to boost that champion sales, which is once again Red Guardian, who can inflict slow. That's why dealing with unstoppable aspect of War. He also benefits in his game mechanics from dexing, basically helping him deal with the Mercy, kind of whole idea there. Additionally, he can block unblockable attacks, therefore he can parry and activate Mercy when it's needed, and then he can stun opponent, and then he can throw a heavy attack, inflict plenty of debuffs, thus use Despair to mitigate the region, and effectively basically seems like a perfect answer for this fight. And also, there I said there is nothing in this game currently realistically that solos this fight. However, obviously since yesterday many people have contacted me, forwarded me videos, and I do have several links and several different videos. So basically 2 champions, which are Quake and Archangel, soloing this Sabretooth in particular via basically switching off Mercy Node with their ability accuracy reduction. So Archangel's neurotoxins can prevent the unblockable hits from going unblockable and still do damage if you kind of time having enough neurotoxins. When Mercy counters would expire, then you kind of get rid of the node altogether. And the same way Quake does it as well. If you happen to be holding a heavy attack when the Mercy counters would expire, then basically you get rid of the node for good. At the same time, I still absolutely stand by everything I said about this node, that it is specifically designed for Red Guardian, and the reasonings for that are: number 1, I generally do not believe that Kabam had seen, intended, or kind of foresaw Quake and Archangel being able to deal with this node, and they actually don't deal with this node. They switch it off, they disable it. Therefore they don't actually tackle it in the way it is meant to be dealt with. They simply kind of bypass it via absolutely OP ability accuracy reductions, which is cool, which is the reason why we love those champions. However, that immediately raises out quite few red flags and problems for me personally. Number 1 being is the Morningstar champion example, or Wasp and the stun change example, or Archangel and his passive stun change example, so on and so forth. The base idea is, I am genuinely not sure that those are intended reactions. I didn't actually even want to make this video to a large degree because I thought that there is a good chance that those are unintended interactions, and if it's brought to light, then Kabam will simply make adjustments and do the same thing that they did to Morningstar in Champion Fight, did the same thing that they did to She-Hulk in Champion Fight, did the same thing that they did to Wasp, so on and so forth, and they basically change the mechanic to favor them. However, obviously a lot of videos have been shared of that happening, and plenty of people know about it already, and there are multiple videos on YouTube, it's going around in Twitter and in line rooms, so on and so forth, and plenty of people commented on my videos as well. So at this point I would consider that to be relatively public knowledge, and that's why I am okay with making that. So again, keep in mind, I'm still not sure that Quake and Archangel are intended to be able to switch off Mercy, or at least for rest of the fight. And that by extension also means that there's nothing stopping Kabam doing from the thing that they have done previously so many times by simply changing the way these champions interact with this specific fight or node, which is something that is a legitimate worry right now, that by the time this fight actually gets released, it's already going to get patched. So that is argument number 1. And the point number 2, also obviously this is beta, and since this is beta, it can go in one of 2 very important directions. Kabam can take the feedback in consideration and can take the fact that everybody absolutely hates this node and act in the interest of community and remove Aspect of War. without aspect of war, this fight becomes much more manageable, right? That would be the ideal scenario. However, at the same time, they can simply add in immune to ability accuracy reduction, because again, I do not think that they intended for Mercy to be quote-unquote switched off for the entire duration of the fight by those two particular champions. So again, since this is beta, things can change, and that is important, and that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing. It's going to be up to us to kind of like live through, wait through of everything that happens, and then actually settle on this fight when it is released. But again, it does take absolutely nothing away from the idea that Kabam had when they designed this fight and they put it in beta. Because it's clear that it was exactly the same plan that I already discussed. Produce a champion that has hardly any, if any, counters, and release a champion that counters it. That is certainly how it looks like. That is, in my opinion, quite definitely kind of like the design secret behind this node, and also ability set behind Red Guardian. And it's not like it's first time they do that. The same 6.33 Mysterio. When Mysterio was released, he got two answers, Man-Thing and King Groot. King Groot is so awful that nobody actually wants to plays him, or his damage is so bad that it's not realistically even much better option than just a high damaging output champion for Mysterio fight. But Man-Thing is a champion that got recently released like a month ago or a few weeks ago before 6.3 came out. When 6.3 came out, Man-Thing was effectively the only worthwhile solution. Obviously, yes, you can deal with 6.33 Mysterio fight with, I don't know, high damaging Aegon, Proxima, Ghost or something, and a couple of revives or whatever. It wasn't necessarily the hardest fight. However, the definition of this plan is still existent in that Mysterio, because they released a champion that happens to be relatively unique and countered this one fight that nobody else pretty much counters, at least in a way that Kabam intended it to be countered. And the same exact principle applies here. The fact that Kabam maybe didn't see Quake and Archangel's possible options could simply even increase the chance that this fight gets changed from beta to actual release of the content, where Kabam makes sure that Archangel and Quake does not work. Also, additionally, and this might obviously be kind of like stretching too far, or I'm not even going to try and stretch, because this is perhaps a coincidence, but still a worthwhile fact to mention, that it just so happens that Archangel and Quake both are champions that are currently not available as 6 stars, and would kind of reinforce my idea that they probably will never get introduced as 6 stars, because Kabam is probably sick and tired of designing extremely difficult specific cash grab nodes designed for new champions, and then older champions like Archangel, like Quake, that are extremely potent, coming in and working as an alternative or as a shortcut or as an option that more people have and they do not profit from because they can't sell you their Cavalier crystals. So I do think that it also kind of emphasizes the point and the reasoning of why Quake and Archangel still are not available as 6-star champions, even though over 80 or 85% of the champions in game currently are available as 6-star champions, and which also kind of reinforces my point. And I hope I'm wrong. Trust me, I do. I love both of those champions, but I do genuinely think that Archangel and Quake will not see the day of when they are released as 6 stars. Unfortunately, that is something that I strongly believe. So yes, today's video effectively is, we have good news. Quake and Archangel can solo this fight, therefore most of us, or majority of the people who will tackle Act 7 probably does have a reasonable counter for this fight. Hooray! We have concerns that might be unintended interaction that could potentially be patched at any given point. We have additional concerns and uncertainty whether this fight exactly will remain the same, whether they will actually improve it based on the horrible feedback that I have received from players, or they will make it harder to kind of like prove the point that Quake and Archangel are not meant to be able to bypass this fight. And lastly, obviously the fact that Quake and Archangel are not released as 6 stars currently, and probably never. But yeah, this is a relatively short video because I just wanted to set it straight and also inform you guys, in case you had missed it, that Archangel and Quake do counter this guy. and yeah, just raise a valid point for discussion. So let me know what you guys think about this fight, whether you think that Quake and Archangel are intended to be able to deal with this fight, and yeah, whether you can see them as 6 stars. Coolios. But that is it. I'm not gonna keep you long at all. I have released a lot of videos today, so I'm grateful that you are still clicking and still watching if you are. And hit that like button, hit that sub button, and hit that prayer button, because help us. See ya.